morning, friends and lecturers alike. Today, my team, which is inclusive of me, Isaac, Xiaoyang, Jingfei, and Jing Hong, will talk about SDLC and methodologies, and we'll relate it to our case study of Myki. Just for your information, this chapter is about chapter 6, software development, and I hope that you guys can learn more about this subject.
Okay, thank you, Isaac, for the introductions. Now I would like to talk about the SDLC. SDLC is the System Development Lifecycle. But why SDLC? Because SDLC is one of the foundation of the methodology. Regardless of the methodology, SDLC has 7 methods, which are the planning, analysis, design, development, testing, implementation, and maintenance. And here, we found out a lot of problems that we found in the case study. But this is not all the problems that we found, because this is just a few of them that will really affect the customer. And regarding the planning, the Myki has failed to budgeting their money, because at the first they budget their money at 400 million, but at the end they use up 1.4 billion to execute this project. Regarding the analysis, the Myki has decided to create this system for everyone, but not the disabled user. And regarding to the design, Myki, most of the popular web browsers such as Firefox, Google Chrome, and also maybe Internet Explorer cannot support their system. And another one core problem that is when they're reading the cards that take a few seconds to read out. And then I will pass my presentation to Xiaoyang to explain furthermore on this SDL.
Thank you, Hong, for your presentation. So I'll be continuing where he left off. So right now we'll be talking about the development aspect, which involves taking detailed designs and documents and transforming it into the actual system, in which Myki has not successfully implemented it because they lack the governance in the development phase. Moving on, we have the testing aspect, which involves bringing the projects into the testing environment, and to check for errors, bugs, and interoperability. Now, Myki ran tests on their systems, and although it wasn't successful and it didn't turn out how they want it to be, they placed a considerable amount of effort to make it better. Next will be the implementation aspect. Now, Myki also did not successfully implement this web browser compatibility because most of their functionalities are not supported on certain web browsers. And finally, for the maintenance aspect, resource inadequacy is a major factor to Myki because they are suffering $55 million per year. And why I said so, because they did not perform changes, corrections, and upgrades to their system to ensure it continues to meet their business goals. And also, maintenance has to be done frequently because business grows with time. So next, I'll be passing on the presentation to Jingfei. Thank you.
And Xiaoyang for the excellent explanation of what SDLC is. Now to continue on our presentation, me and Jingfei will explain more on what methodologies are. Now, these days there are many methodologies used by companies of all sizes, maybe big, small, or medium, where can be traditional software development strategy, which includes waterfall methodology. These are used since the eras of our forefathers, grandfathers, whatsoever. And we have agile software development strategy, which recently kind of catch the flame, and there's a lot of people using this because of many positive factors, which I'll explain earlier. And this includes rapid application development, RAD, rational unified process, RUP, extreme programming, XP, and Scrum.
So I'll introduce the traditional methodology. It's a waterfall. It's also called as a linear sequential life cycle. In each phase must be completed fully before the next phase starts, and they are very easy use and understand. But it also contains high amount of risk and uncertainty because because their testing progress is only can be start after the develop finish. So it will very hard to change if have any extra demand. And so it will be only used when requirements are very well known and clear and fixed. So compared with the Agile methodology, Agile methodology is a process alternative to traditional project management. It's typically used in software development to help business respond to unpredictable ability. There includes two kinds of the methodology. One is called RUP, Regional Unified Process Methodology, and RAD, Rapid Application Development. RUP is owned by IBM, provides a framework for breaking down the development of software into 4 gates. The first gate is inception. In this gate, they were trying to see whether the project is enabled to develop, and is this good for them to, is it have enough resource to implement this. So for the gate 2 elaboration, they will discover more about the evaluate architecture and their required resource. For the gate 3 construction, they are start to develop and finish the whole project. So for the gate 4, its transition, they were open for the public. So another one is the RAD, Rapid Application Development. It's aimed to develop to respond to delivery system very fast. In this methodology, it contains a test list and the work breakdown. It's helping to improve their speed. So for this one, our company, Myki, should be choose Agile because waterfall is not very suited. You don't have the iteration for the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Jinfei, for the excellent explanation of the methodologies earlier. And to conclude our presentation, I'm going to talk about extreme programming and Scrum, which is the last 2 methodologies of this 5 methodologies. Now, extreme programming is basically the methodologies which is very powerful for tech-related companies, as its name implies, programming. It does provides an excellent end result for developers and users if implemented correctly, as it includes planning, designing, coding, and testing, where all of these 4 phases are vital to the design, or should I say, the making of any useful program. Now, another thing that makes the extreme programming methodology to be unique is that it features a narrow communication gap between developers and users, and this allows users and developers to have an intended end result, which is the program, where the developers and the users can agree on a program which suits the user's needs. In this case, a narrow communication gap also features a reduced rate of redundancy, a reduced rate of wrong specifications, and so on. Besides, it does not add functionality until needed, which is an important feature of any iteration-based methodology. where it does provide a main program where it has its basic needs, basic functions on its first iteration, and as time goes on, more iterations are added, and it produces the final product after it completes its final iteration. Okay. Now on to our final methodology, which is Scrum. Before I continue with Scrum, let me note that extreme programming is actually a subset under Scrum where it features significant characteristics with Scrum, but Scrum is still significantly unique. Now, Scrum is an iterative/addition methodology where every iteration is an improvement over the previous iteration, and I'll explain in detail about this later. Scrum is relevant to use in most development projects where conditions can change indefinitely, and this can be proved by our case study, the Myki case study, where we believe that the parent company of the Myki case study, Hien, have implemented waterfall methodology, and this led to the downfall of the Myki project because the waterfall methodology doesn't allow business processes to be retraced. The phases can't be retraced, and by can't be retraced I mean that it can't be iterated, it can't be repeated, and in this case it costs a lot for waterfall methodology to retrace its steps, whereas Scrum practices sprint. Well, I'll explain a bit more later. Before that, it's written from the perspective of end users, and this proved to be a great correlation between the end users and the developers, the testers, the customers, the executives, the product owners, and the Scrum Master, which is generally the product manager of the Scrum members. And these are all basically Scrum members. So, the product owner, or should I say the client, generates user stories, which is the things that they want, which in turn is broken down into work events and subsequently sprints. Now, why is this important? Sprints are actually iterations. You can think of it as iterations. Iterations that provides improvement on every subsequent iteration. To further elaborate what does the iteration mean. Now, the first iteration provides a basic program, or should I say the basic product, that features the most basic and most significant features and functionality of the product, whereas after iterations are done, it's considered as add-on to the original iteration, and once all iterations are completed, that's when your final product is done. And to conclude of why Scrum is so popular, well, I guess it boils down to these two again, the burn down chart and the daily Scrum. The burn down chart and the daily Scrum are probably two of the most important factors that helps contribute Scrum its popularity amongst corporations and companies alike these days. Because burn down chart, once again, it helps companies to keep track of their productivity and efficiency of the Scrum team, where it shows them visually where they stand, how much work is done and how much work is left. And then again you have the daily Scrum, which is completed after every sprint. The daily Scrum is a general meeting between the Scrum members, and the Scrum members, inclusive of the developer, tester, customer, executive, product owner, and Scrum Master, will come together and have a meeting on how to make a product, or rather the sprint, a better iteration over the previous self, where, as I said earlier, sprints are actually iteration that offers a general upgrade over its previous form of sprint, and thus the daily scrum is generally a meeting on how to upgrade every version of sprints. And thank you for listening patiently to our presentation, even though it's somewhat boring maybe, but I hope you guys learned a lot through our explanation of the methodologies as well as the SDLC and how it affects company on terms of performance. Thank you.